Howdy champs, my name is Mohit and people. Today we're going to talk about the jQuery UI dialog widget. I'm going to start off with the publish preview people, with the browser preview. Let me straight away head to Google Chrome. Okay, now dialog widget is actually just like a dialog box that you see in front of you right now. Okay, now this one has a theme applied. This one has a lot of additional optional parameters applied to it. Okay, this dialog box actually closes on the press of the escape key. Will also close if you hit the close button here on the top right corner. Will also close once you click on this OK button. Okay, so this all was made possible through additional optional parameters, and we'll look at that in a moment. Also people, I've had the modal additional parameter applied to it, which means that everything else is darkened out, okay, is dimmed out except this dialog box. Okay, so I can either press escape, click this cross here, or just say OK to get rid of the dialog box. Okay, now let me refresh again. People notice that it actually fades in, right? So we have the fade in effect applied and also the explode applied when you actually, let's press the escape key, close it. Okay, so let me just momentarily take you through the code. I've had the modal applied, the draggable set to a false, the resizable set to a false. By default, draggable is set to true, that you can drag the box around, the dialog box around. You can also resize it, which I've actually set to false now. Close on escape has been set to true, so just press the escape key and it'll actually close the dialog box. The position has been set to X and Y coordinates 20 each. The show effect is fade, the hide effect is explode. This is how you actually create the button. In fact, I'm gonna take you through this project all over again, almost from the very beginning. I'm gonna scrap, destroy, delete almost all the code, leaving some behind. Okay, and then we'll build from scratch. Also people, remember the title that you see here, which says viewer discretion advised, plus the OK button by default appear quite big. It was quite offending, so I had to write a little bit of internal styles, which is actually out here in the opening closing style tag, which then squeeze the size of this OK button, also shrink the size of this title tag out here. So we'll look at that, how this was actually made possible. So people, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna as I said, as I promised you, I'm gonna take you through the very beginning. I'm gonna scrap a lot of code going from here to here, scrap it. Okay, this everything that is inside the script tag, I'm gonna scrap it. Okay, I'm gonna preserve what is inside the body tags because it's actually very simple to explain it to you, but the rest of the code I've actually scrapped. So let's save it up. Let's start from the very beginning people. Let's first understand whatever have we left so far. So we have the doc type declaration out here, the HTML opening tag is here, the closing is here, the head opens here, closes out here, the meta tag opens out here with the char set to UTF-8, the title opens here, closes out here, the head of the document closes out here, which had opened out here, the body starts out here, closes out here, and the HTML closes out here. We have a BR or a line break out here. Okay, now people, inside the body of the document, whatever is there actually appears on the web page. I'm sure you understand this much. Alright, at least you should. Okay, inside the body of the HTML document, we have the opening div tag, which has an ID of dialog and has a title of viewer discretion advice. Basically, we are talking to the viewer and letting him know that the website contains visually disturbing content, so viewer discretion is actually advised. That is the dialog box. Okay, then we have in HTML the I tag, I for italic, Usually not used much these days. We try to use the CSS instead, but just keeping things quick and simple. So use the I tag, and through internal inline style, I'm actually setting the font size to a 14, writing some content out here. I close the I tag out here. Then we have the line break out here. Then in between the opening and the closing KBD tags, I'm using inline style again, setting the font size to 12, color to chocolate, giving out a message to my viewer saying that press escape to quit the dialog box. That is right. Okay, so now people, this project uses jQuery UI, which in turn uses jQuery UI JavaScript package, the JavaScript library, and the jQuery UI library, and a couple of CSS files. Basically, I'm gonna fetch those files or summon those files or make those files available through CDN or Content Delivery Network. Okay, give me a sec while I actually bring it up for you. Alright, just coming up, people. Let me just copy and paste it for you. Alright, so I'm coming out here after the title tag and I'm actually placing it out here. Okay. Alright. Very cool. So people, now we are able to fetch a theme, which is actually smoothness, through this URL. Okay, we are also able to point to the latest jQuery package or the library 1.9.1.js, and to the latest jQuery UI library, which is 1.10.3 at the time of making this tutorial. And we also need a couple of CSS files here, which we are actually linking up through CDN or Content Delivery Network. Alrighty. Okay, now people, next what I need to do is I need to actually script out my dialog box, and that's gonna be quite easy. So making sure that I'm inside the head of the document, I'm gonna start with the opening script tag. Okay, I'm gonna set the type attribute to be a text JavaScript. Okay, let me just close it up out here. And the way to create a dialog box is very simple. We have just one single div out here which has an ID dialog. Okay, so I'm gonna reference that div, but before that let me make sure that the document is actually ready, and I can do so this way. Okay, so I can just say, I beg your pardon, document dot ready. Alright. So first ensuring that the document is ready when the DOM has actually initialized and the HTML document is ready to be manipulated. Then I should begin coding. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say $, and then I'm gonna say that I wish to reference the div with an ID dialog. This is the way you'll actually do it. So this is the selector. Okay, and then apply the dialog widget. Okay, and it's actually so simple as long as you're not pushing in any additional optional parameters, making things very simple and vanilla. This is the simplest form of creating a dialog box, people. Okay, now let me refresh this button out here, and you can quite clearly notice that we have a dialog box which clearly appears out here. It says viewer discretion advised. You're about to enter a website that may contain content which is visually disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Press escape to quit. So either you can press escape to quit, or you can simply click the cross button. So what has actually happened is it's automatically turned the div with the ID dialog into a dialog box. It's used the title attribute and made it a title out here. Okay, there's another way of doing it, people. I can completely wipe it out from here and use it as an additional optional parameter, which I'm about to show it to you. And whatever is inside the opening and the closing I tags actually appears out here in the form italic. Okay, and whatever is between the opening and the closing KBD tags actually appears out here. The color is chocolate and the font size is 12, simply because we have applied an inline style here as well as here, which keeps this font size italic but 14px. Okay, now I told you that I can actually apply the title as an additional optional parameter. It's very simple. All I need to do is I just need to come out here and push in the title additional optional parameter. It's so simple, people, to do it. I can just be out here and let's tab title colon and I'm sorry, your discretion. I'm not so sure if my spelling is actually right, advised or whatever. Okay, and put a comma out here so that we can follow it up with another additional optional parameter. Cool. Okay, so you see the title again appears out here. Okay, but the title is actually getting cut off. Also notice, people, the title is way too big. It's not pleasing. Okay, so what I can do is, the first thing that I can do is I can apply a width to it. So I can just apply the width additional optional parameters, and let's say keep it at how about 300. Let's give that a try. And no, it's still getting chopped off. So how about let's try 340. That is pixels. Okay, so yes, I can see the complete title now. Alright, very good. So I've used the width additional optional parameter. People, let me tell you that this dialog box is actually draggable and it's also resizable by default. Not only that, people, we can even change the theme. If I come out here where it says smoothness, you know, in line number 7, I can change it to a different theme simply by changing a word out here. Let me say I would want the sunny theme to be applied out here. So just change the word to sunny from smoothness. Alrighty, and people, if I refresh, you can actually see the theme has changed, and that's changed quite a lot of things out here. Cool. Okay, there are so many other themes, people. There's a theme called Overcast. Let me show that to you as well. Okay, there's a theme called Redmond. There's a theme called black dash tie dot dash love, pepper dash grinder, and so many more. You can actually go to JQuery UI.com/downloads and look at the bottom left corner and check the complete list of the available themes that you can actually use. Alright, okay, so let's get on with actually setting the draggable and the resizable interactions and set them off. It's very easy to actually do that. So I'm gonna say draggable colon false and put a comma and say resizable comma, I'm sorry, colon false. Okay, and let's see that in action. Okay, people, now I can't drag it around, nor can I actually resize it any more. Okay, let me change the theme to sunny again. Alrighty, cool. Now people, what happens if I actually use a theme called modal? Okay, This will dim all the other areas barring the dialog box. So I'm going to set it to true. It can just have two values, true or false. Okay, so let's see that in action. Now people, apart from the dialog box or the dialog widget, everything else is actually dimmed out and you cannot interact with that area. Okay, very cool. So that's modal for you. Let's see what other options we have. Now we can make it show and hide itself, the dialog box that is with some animation, and the simplest way that I can actually show you is the show additional optional parameter. I can set it to a fade, alrighty, and at the same time hide, and set that to another effect called explode. Okay, there are so many other effects people that you can actually use. Instead of fade, you can use blind or fold, and there are so many more that you can actually use. You can just go to JQuery UI.com and actually check the list of effects that you can apply. I can also include the duration and the easing out here, but I'm just keeping things simple at default. So fade in while you actually show, and hide while you explode while you actually hide the dialog box. Let me just save things up. Okay, and check it out in the browser itself. So you saw that it actually faded in, and while I actually either press the escape key or click out here, you saw that it actually explodes. Okay, very cool. Now people, we have a few more additional optional parameters, like position. Now I can either set it to top or bottom or left or right, or I can also push in a value in a way that I'm about to show you. So position the dialog box at, let's say, 25px x 25px y, and let's save it up. Let's see that in action. Let's bring up the browser, Google Chrome. Let's refresh, and as you can very clearly see, it's positioned itself exactly where I actually want it. Okay, not only that people, I can get a confirmatory OK button rather than clicking out here or pressing the escape key, using the buttons additional optional parameter. Okay, let's see that in action too. Alrighty, I'm just pushing in a bit of a code out here. Okay, and let me just separate it from the rest of the content so you can actually clearly see what is actually what's been written out here. So using the buttons additional optional parameter, putting a colon out here, and inside the opening and closing curly braces, I'm writing the word OK followed by a colon and followed by an anonymous function. Now what this function actually does is it closes this dialog box using the close command, like so. So now if I actually refresh the page, you'll notice that the OK button actually appears, which is way too big and doesn't actually appeal to me. Also, as I pointed out earlier, the heading is way too big, and just simply not aesthetic. I don't like that. I'm gonna fix that too in a moment, but before that, let's save things up. Let's save the file up. Let's take a browser preview. Let's refresh. Okay, it fades in while it actually appears and shows me this annoying big button and annoying big title. Okay, so I'm gonna say OK, and people, it actually explodes and disappears. Alright, so people, I told you that I'm gonna push in some bit of CSS. Righty, and I'll just copy paste that. I'll just keep things very simple people. I'm gonna use a bit of inline styling. Alright, give me a minute. Okay, let me just position it at the right place. Okay, so I'm gonna come out here after line number 11, just above the document.ready routine, and I'm gonna push in a little bit of inline styles. All right. There seems to be some error out here. Let me check what's wrong. Okay, quite clearly I need to push it not here but out here. Just made a small error. It wasn't positioned at the right place. Right, yo, alrighty. Okay. Now people, just focus on the opening and the closing style tags that I've applied out here. Opening style tag, which has the type attribute, which has been applied directly after the CDN links. The links which actually summon the two CSS files through the link tags, and two JS files, which are actually the latest jQuery library and the latest jQuery UI library. Immediately after that, I pushed in the opening and the closing style tags. Now they are gonna take care of the size of the the title out here. It's actually shrunk, and also the button has shrunk in size quite clearly, and the final result is exactly the way I actually want it. And that's happened because of two rules that I have picked up from here, from the CSS styles, but since they are CDNs kept remotely on a server, I can't directly edit it on a remote server, but instead I've actually applied it just below the after the CDN, so that it will actually override the original rule I have made. I've actually altered the class UI-dialog-title. I set the font size to 15, and I've also altered yet another class that's responsible for the button size. So I've just set the font size of the button to 12 px. Hence I have shrunk the button, and I've also shrunk the title size. Okay, so people, let's save this file up and let's have a look at the final product. Okay, let's refresh. Right, so people, quite clearly it's displaced 20 or 25 pixels from the top and from the left. I actually forgot what was the value that I'd used, and nevertheless it was some position, the position additional optional argument or parameter was used, and then it was displaced by a few pixels. I also used the buttons additional optional parameter to have this button pushed out here, which actually functions just the way this the close button here at the top works. And I've also added the no, I still have to add the press to escape functionality, people. This was one functionality that I have forgotten to add. So the additional optional parameter is actually called close on escape. I'm gonna add that now. Just give me a minute. So I'm gonna come out here, and let's say out here, and use the close on escape, and let's set that to true. Okay, by default it's actually false. I need to use the capital O out here, put a comma out here. Okay, camel casing is the is the way to go. And let's save and check the final product. So let's refresh again, and yep. So people, if I were to hit the escape key now, you can see that it just closes the dialog box. It can be closed by this button as well as by this OK button too. This OK button was actually pushed inside through the button's argument. Alright people, so people, I hope you found this information useful, and I also hope that you'll subscribe to me and keep coming back for more and more tutorials from me. You have a good day. Bye bye. Peace.